Alrighty, well we're going to talk about the fairy meadow and the man from the fairy meadow and the situation that befell said man. Of course, he's long since moved on and now, from what I hear, lives in Michigan. And I haven't watched this guy for a long time because I don't need the drama. And, you know, narcissists are sort of love the drama. They feed off it. And the way to stuff it up for them is to not become involved in it. And really, I don't want to see this guy's crap coming up in my recommended views because, as my sister says of herself, I would feel that I would be, couldn't hold back and I'd have to get it. So, you're best just to leave it behind. And as someone else said to me, you know, you put in a lot of hard yards against the guy. You know, you warn people enough yourself. Now hand it on and let other people, you know, warn people. But, you know, I think the e-bigging with him primarily, a lot of it dried up when, you know, the results stopped showing, like when he come back from Australia. And, you know, for the most part, he's 90% gone anyway. When it really comes to it. Now, it seems like he might be 100% gone with this wife of his. You know, he's still trying to e-beg. He's, you know, went off into blooming all this bullshit to do with this cryptocurrency that's just some homemade horse shit that, you know, no one wants to borrow of. And, you know, there's one thing with the guy, he's a sort of manipulative character. I remember that someone made a video, someone you all know who makes parodies very well, on, like, it's supposed to be me and him, and it was Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. And you've all seen the one where, you know, a lightsaber comes out, bang, he has his arm chopped off, and there's been other parodies made using the same scene, but it was, you know, Link, you and me can come together and we can run the off-grid community together, blah, 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 blah. You know, that's the sort of guy's mentality that, you know, he can sort of, you know, control the whole show sort of thing, and he loves to control things. You know, there's times there where I went to another city with him, never got showed on camera, and some of his church mates, and they went and looked around where the church was originally founded and all this sort of stuff. And he told me in a cafe that, you know, you can leave comments in my videos and I won't block you, but never try and upstage me. And never say you've got something better than me. Well, bro, what if I have? No, still couldn't do it, otherwise he'd block me. You know, and he sort of, you know, it's one of these things that, like, he sort of has, for those of you who don't know, his mum is fairly high up in a bank, and, you know, she's into her 70s, and she's probably still working at this point. And he sort of always just had things handed to him. He's had a lot of attempts at businesses that have just gone flat on their face for decades, you know, and, you know, a lot of the times it's almost like as though he always gets what he wants or mama bails him out eventually. And, you know, he's had most of his life just frolicking around, and there's a point in time where if you've been playing around all your life, you never actually know what it is to work, and it's beyond you to do work because you've sort of never really had to face any work, and so it's almost too impossible for them to go and work properly, and they sort of keep trying to find ways out of it as they have for, you know, for their life in the younger years, you know, and that's the thing. Like, the dude's in his 40s, and you know, as much as feminism loves the idea that women should take on multiple roles, they don't like the idea of men changing from their traditional role of shut the fuck up, go to work and provide for me. And, you know, as a sort of you know, slightly right-leaning Christian, I sort of I understand that, you know, and I've got no troubles really doing that. You know, going to work and providing for a wife and kids. And I've had my ideas, my business ideas, I've frolicked around. And, you know, I've had my early years of sitting on my arse on welfare and, you know, had a great time. And people are telling me, hey, your life's fucking peachy, just stay this way, you know. But I realised that, you know, you really got to work just for sheer motivation, if nothing else, because if you don't work, you just get into this lazy fucking rut, you know. And the fact is that I've got no troubles working to provide for a wife and kids. And, you know, really speaking, like, I'm working now, and to be quite honest, it's talk coming from the office via my sidekick. They didn't say it directly, just sort of, my sidekick told me they're trying to put you permanent. Okay, maybe I'll go permanent, you know. I've sort of got an all right job, you know, and, you know, I understand the whole idea of work and also of providing for a woman and child, which I don't have at the moment. The trouble is, I think old Teabag didn't quite get it. And, you know, old Mum has bailed him out so many times before, and it's just like, well, I got a wife and child now. Oh, well, so what? And just keep frolicking around like a fucking idiot, you know. And there was a point there where apparently he got part-time work at a small engine repair shop, you know, in Pine Bush there. But it's sort of interesting that going to Michigan, still fucking around with cryptocurrency. Oh, another business. Oh, Melanie's going to sell eggs. All right, here we go. Oh, I'm going to sell cryptocurrencies. The demand's going to be out of control. This, that, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I've got all these machines. Next thing he's selling these machines. I just get this through all you guys, you know, through parodies and videos other people make. I don't go and watch him, but it's just... And sometimes people email me and tell me what's going on. But, you know, horse shit, you know, just fucking around with all this bullshit, you know, and just sort of keep limping along. And it's sort of like, dude, you've got a wife and a child. You need to get a fucking job, because there's only a certain amount that a partner can take. And a lot of people, they sort of, you know, oh, well, me wife sort of, they've got this idea that some of the idiots, you know, some of these guys have been single for too long. They've got this idea that, well, I can have a wife and child, but I'm still going to have my fun life and fuck around and do nothing and don't work, but she can have the baby, take her to school, work, do all the shit, look after the house, do everything, get the job, do all the fucking dishes, do the washing, do the fucking, cook the meals, have the kid, do everything, and I'll just keep fucking around for all the rest of my days, as I have for all my previous days. It doesn't fucking work like that. And as much as I've got nothing against being a house husband, at least if I was one, I would do shit. You know, I'd probably have every box lawn cleared out. The driveway would be like a fucking runway. You know, there'd be nothing left to fucking do almost, because it'd be so super organised. You know, but I really feel that even then, I'd still want to work 2 days a week, at least, if not 3, just to keep that motivation. But the reality is there's very few house husbands. And the reality of the situation is that your life changes, you know, and you've got to be prepared to do these changes. And there's only, you know, like there's some partners that I heard about one today. The guy was, you know, underhanded with fucking everything, and he was in sort of the rubbish removal thing, but he had to do stupid shit like get paid to remove rubbish and then not even take it to the tip, just dump it at one of his relatives' houses. And he filled up garages and backyards of all these relatives, and everything was dodgy, dodgy, dodgy. He'd fill up around his own house. It was just a fucking mess, you know? And his wife stuck with him for years, and she used to get stressed from all this rubbish everywhere, and she got high blood pressure problems from all this. Now, they might have been back in the day, you know, they were married probably, honestly, probably the early 60s. And, you know, that might have flown back then, where your wife would stick by you no matter what. But the reality is, really speaking, that if you push a girl too hard, you know, there's, even like my sister, you know, they were living under fairly rough conditions when I went up there and first helped them, you know, fix the house up. And, you know, brother-in-law would say, "Oh, is this all right?" And she said, "It's all right, so long as this is a temporary situation and we're moving to a better situation." They didn't have a flushing toilet. They had one of those god-awful cassette toilets. And she's like 8 or 9 months pregnant with one of those blasted cassette toilets. Oh, man, I don't know. Like, their living conditions were worse than mine by a long shot, to be honest, you know. And I just sat there going, fucking hell, like, you know, and they had the power on, but bloody hell. You know, it was hard going I thought, for a pregnant woman. But, you know, she said, it's all right, so long as this is a temporary situation and we're moving into this house we're fixing. It's going to be a better house. Things are going to be decent, you know, and this is what we, you know. But I can often handle it temporarily, but when it's just fucking years on end of bullshit, I don't know how. I mean, I understand where they're coming from. I know that girls can't put up with bullshit forever, and they can't be strung out forever. I've seen a case of another woman who, for 25 years, she never had an actual proper kitchen because they bought so many of these half-renovated places and fucking frolicked around with them and never really got them done properly, blah, 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 blah. And it was just, she said, you know, 25 years or 20 years or something like that. I think it was 25, actually. I've never had an actual proper kitchen. I've always been cooking on some bloody camping stove set up on a fucking little Laminex table or something. You know, it's just like, fucking what? You know, and this is the thing. You know, there comes a point where, you know, and she's, you know, once again, they were married probably in the 70s, but she, you know, didn't get sort of that pissed, and eventually she did get a kitchen, but there's only a certain amount of time that partners can put up with bullshit, like having a wife and child and you ain't getting a fucking job and they're not going anywhere, and I can guarantee you he's getting money off mum and all this, and she's just sitting there thinking, where the fuck is this going? You know, and eventually the tolerance runs out, you know, the tolerance runs out. And as much as I'm, you know, not going to have power on here, one day there will be another house, you know, but you'll be well aware that there's not going to be power on here. But there'll be a reasonable solar system, you know, darn sight bigger than what I got now. I'll probably run like 6 or 8 kilowatt system, something like that, you know, and we'll get somewhere. But yeah, you've got these whole bunch of people who just sort of, they've never fucking grown up and fell into their role as a grown male to get a fucking job, and, you know, and it just sort of, oh, never in my wildest dreams I'd ever think any of this would happen. Oh, that's because you're fucking stupid. That's because you don't understand that just because you've had everything your way all your life, well, now you got a wife, she's going to need a few things her way. And you getting a fucking job and providing for her and the baby might be that way. Oh, it's an anchor baby and she's giving him the flick. Oh, fuck me. Who wouldn't give the guy the flick? Really? Put yourself in the wife's shoes. If you had a husband you're married to and they're just fucking around and never getting on anything and you're always hard up for money and hard up for food, hard up for everything, but he still refused to get a job and he's still fucking around with these cryptocurrencies that are getting nowhere. Promise, handouts from mum. How fucking long would you last? You know, and this is the thing, like inevitability come knocking, but he was the last one to fucking see it coming because he spent all these days just frolicking around like an idiot. You know, and there's just, you know, you have that time when you're younger where you can fuck around like an idiot. And there comes a time where you got to get serious about life. And, you know, even like this cousin today, you know, I mean, she's probably, I hope she knows, and I probably should have spoke up and said something that the house prices are going to drop quite dramatically in 2019, so therefore, well, maybe she should look into it. But, you know, 10 years without a car, she's finally got a car, okay, whatever, but is getting a house on the agenda? You know, because there's not going to be a great deal of time and she's going to be like 41 before too long, you know. Just think about this shit, and quite frankly, if you haven't got on board by now, it's probably too late. Having said that, she's on a fairly high wage. Having said that, she spends like fucking wildfire. You know, and this is the thing, like, I was 26. I was 2 weeks before I was 26. I fucking whacked out 21 or 22 signatures. That's not a joke. 21 or 22 signatures I signed to get the property that I used to have. Now, I realised that something had to be done at age 26, slightly before age 26. So, you know, I was 25 technically, but I was, you know, getting very close to 26. And I thought, well, we're going to start moving on something because I've got to take care of myself at one point. And you get these other fucking drongos who are, what is he now, like 45, 46? You, like, what? It's still fucking out? Too late. If you haven't got your shit underway by that point, too late. Sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you inherit an old fucking joint. But, having said that, I already had something in my name, not fully paid for, but something in my name at age 26. So I was already preparing for shit at age 26. You got all these other fucking clowns out there. You're fucking late 30s, mid 40s, and it's all just wank, going nowhere, doing nothing, not preparing for a future, and guess what? There isn't any fucking future. You know, I'm looking at, hopefully, I say hopefully, but I think regardless, we're due for a fucking recession here, and there's going to be some people getting really fucking burnt, and there's going to be some people there's already people with underwater housing loans, and they're talking about changing the negative gearing. Bit of wind. They're talking about changing the negative gearing on investment properties, and that's likely to just fucking shoot the property market to bits. And I really hope some people start selling shares off heavily to alleviate their mortgage, and I get some nice little deals, because I am fucking ready and waiting, and I'm prepared. And it's not, like, let's get out of this wind. Sheep. It's not like some of these, you can hardly believe this. There's these fucking idiots who go and say, we want to invest in such and such. And apparently it's actually quite common for this to happen. You come in the stockbroker or financial advisor, whatever the fuck, and say, we want to invest in something. Okay. Well, first things first, how much do you have to invest? We don't have anything. We were considering borrowing money to invest. I'm not fucking joking. This is the shit the stockbrokers hear 10, maybe even 20% of the time. How much you got to invest? Nothing. But we want to be investors because we want to be big. but we've got no fucking cash. The fuck? So, that's not a problem. And I'm hoping there'll be a recession because I'm in a stable job. I'm probably close to going it's probably early next year I'll be going full time. And as all the rest of the economy fucking spirals out of the fucking sky, and I'll be in a good position. But this is the thing: you got to get yourself in a good position, and you got to prepare for the future, because there ain't no 401k as a fucking e-beggar. Like Tony Mullins always used to say, these guys don't have a 401k because they're just fucking around all their life, you know. So anyway, the fool returns to his follies, and I'm just so glad that, in a way, this is another wake-up point, because for all the people who sit there going, oh, it's just trolls, it's just trolls, it's just trolls, oh, there's nothing wrong, Mel might open her mouth and say a few things. Melanie might set him straight about the real Troy, about the man who wants everything his way, and, instead of doing it himself, he'd rather have everyone else do it while he frolics around, and either somebody else does it or mama pays for it or something like that, blah, blah, blah. He who fucks around too long loses his shit. And, yeah. Funny how I see him talking about the kid, and he's talking about it like it's someone's fucking dog. Oh, well, I hear she this, that, and that, and blah, 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 blah. Dude, it's your own kid, and you still think of it as like your neighbour's dog or something. Like, it's just talking about it so third person. It's not my kid. It's like, well, I hear she's doing da-da-da-da-da. You ain't talking about the neighbour's fucking dog. It's your kid. But see, this guy is fucking narcissist. Me. That kid, well, that's just that kid. That's not fatherly. That's not fucking taking responsibility as a man of the household. That's just, and it just shows that this is the way the guy thinks about his own fucking kid. He's just starting to show his true colours. Of course, backed up by, oh, well, I got tinnitus from when I was in the military. Oh, fuck me, what other excuses, what other e-begging move? What else did you get, You got soft bones in the military, you got tinnitus in the military. Don't tell me you got sore butthole in the military as well, Fuck me, look, come on, if fucking talk about milking it. It just shows that he's just a prime bullshit artist. They shall not lie. Well, what part of his fucking, his church stuff, where did that come into it or what? It's everyone else should not lie, but I can lie as much as I fucking fuck off. Tonight is my fucking ass. Interestingly enough, my sidekick's got tinnitus fairly bad. A bit odd as to how he even got it, He's not really the nightclubbing type, but yeah, you see enough horse shit from this guy, and sympathy, poor me. What about poor Mel trying to look after the fucking kid while you don't have a job, Oh, she just wanted an anchor child. She sort of apparently had a few issues with another previous husband or boyfriend or some bullshit, and yeah, who knows what the real story is there. Some people do. I believe Mr. Porter does. Not that we've heard from him for a long time, but all the same, like a lot of those immigrants, I think she wanted a better life. It wasn't necessarily a anchor child and now she can leave him. I think it's just right, well, there's only a certain amount a girl can tolerate. I think that's more the case than anchor child and I'm out. It's just like, well, I got a husband and this is going, and you got to get a job at some point, and oh no, but YouTube is my job and all the other e-big and bullshit, and there just come a time where she just, you know, she can only handle so much shit and then she's had enough. And certain people believe that she looked to be very honest, and I wouldn't doubt that she is. And you sort of got to consider who she's dealing with here. She's not really dealing with an honest person who likes working. You know what I'm saying? So is it really her who's got the anchor child and giving him the boot because, well, it doesn't matter, I've got the anchor child? Or is it just she can only tolerate so much horse shit? Anyway, it's just my little rant on all that.